Good Monday night, everyone, and thanks for joining us for 7 News at 11. I'm Nate Fluharty. Tonight, we're bringing you the very latest on several developing stories around the Ohio Valley and a look at what's ahead with your work week in the weather department. But first, here's a look at our top stories of the night in 60 seconds. It's been a hot topic, over the recent weeks, but now we're learning one member of the West Virginia legislature has introduced a bill that could have teachers carrying weapons in your child's classroom all in the name of protection. But is it the right move? We're getting answers and taking a look at what you have to say straight ahead. Two people flown by medical helicopter from the scene of this accident in Belmont County this morning. One of them, a 10-year-old little girl. She was the passenger of a rented moving vehicle when it smashed into the back of a semi. We're going to have an update on this massive accident straight ahead. Plus, are you looking for a new job or just want to land one of the hundreds of jobs coming to the new cracker plant in Marshall County? Well, you're in luck. We're going to take you to one local college that is specializing in the training you'll need. Much more on what local job seekers like you need to know straight ahead. Well, that was a look at your top stories of the night in 1 minute. Now, we are keeping you updated with what's going on right outside your window. A beautiful way to start the work week. We had lots of sunshine today and the temperatures, they weren't too bad for February, but are we in for a warm-up or a cool-down? Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Dr. Dave Walker right now to find out. Doc?
Well, after an ice-cold weekend, we are definitely a lot warmer than we were Saturday and Sunday. We're now looking at temperatures still in the low 40s, and it doesn't look like the thermometer is going to drop much over the next couple of hours. Storm Tracker 7 Live Doppler HD scan in the skies. You can see some rain showers now reaching the Columbus area, and it looks like they could be crossing Interstate 77 before 1 a.m. and maybe around our area by 2. No watches or warnings nearby. Here's what we estimate the temperatures might do. All right, now I'm expecting maybe down to about 39, some of our valley locations by midnight. And it does look like we could have a little bit of a rain-snow mix, but the ground will stay above freezing. More on your weather in a little bit. Let's head back over to Nate.
Across the Mountain State tonight, a bill just introduced to the state legislature is getting a lot of attention across the Mountain State, but it still has a long way to go before it officially becomes a law. Now, this bill would allow teachers who have carry to conceal permits to bring those weapons onto school property. It was introduced last week. Now, this has just one sponsor, a new delegate who is a Republican from Mason County. He says it's too soon to talk about the measure, but some retired teachers from Marshall County were talking about it, and they haven't much enthusiasm for the idea.
I don't know. Personally, I don't think it's a real good idea. I know we need to get some stuff straightened out, but I don't know whether that's going to be the answer.
I truly think that teachers should not be armed simply because there are always students that would be able to get the guns somehow and cause more damage, but yet I think there should be more with the law enforcement aspect in the schools.
Now, obviously, this issue has generated quite a response from our viewers. Let's take a look at what you're saying tonight. First, with our 7 News Twitter account, where @WVFlu says, of all the ideas presented in the gun debate, this may be the most unsafe, illogical, and asinine. To Facebook, where Mike says, yes, I think it would make those who aim to harm children think twice, since they are cowardly people to begin with, who prey on the defenseless. Marcy says, I don't want armed teachers teaching my kids. That's why they have resource officers in the school, to protect our kids. Roger T says, the threat is 1 in a million event. We should worry about more common events. The odds are on our side. Krista says, schools are supposed to be safe for our children, and that means no weapons, teacher or not. Now, if you would like your comment to be made, go to our 7 News Facebook page. Leave your comment there, and we'll feature it right here on 7 News. And thanks to everybody who already chimed in tonight. We are following up on another story first brought to you tonight at 5. A mysterious report of bones found in Paden City. So what are they? Are they human, animal? Who knows? Let's get some answers right now from 7 News reporter Rachel Durkis, who actually just got back from the scene from where those bones were found. And Rachel, what did you dig up tonight?
Well, Nate, this all started earlier this afternoon when calls came into our newsroom asking us to investigate a report of bones found under a porch at a Payton City home. Well, we spoke with prosecutor Tim Hott, who tells us the bones found did not appear to be human. While I was in Payton City this evening at the house, there was no one on scene, and as you can see from the video, just some crime tape up around the porch. Hott tells us the bones have been turned over to the medical examiner's office, though.
So, Rachel, anytime we hear that bones were found, most times we automatically assume the worst. It's just what people do. But just to clarify, officials do not believe that these bones were human?
Yeah, Nate, there is no reason for law enforcement or any other agency to believe that these bones were human. That's what we've been told. Should there be any further developments, of course, we'll be sure to pass those along to you.
Okay, Rachel, we appreciate that report. Moving on tonight at 11, we are learning from officials with the Ohio State Highway Patrol that there were two conflicting stories about a major accident that happened earlier today in Belmont County, just outside of Martins Ferry. The driver of this semi says when he was slowing for the red light, he was rear-ended in the trailer part by this truck. The girlfriend of the rented moving company truck who was following both vehicles at the time of the crash says the semi was the one that switched lanes. Serious injuries involved in this accident today. The driver of the moving van and his passenger both flown to Pittsburgh hospitals.
There was also a 10-year-old child in the Penske truck. She was flown to Children's Hospital in Pittsburgh by air with life-threatening injuries. Crews took over an hour to free her because she was trapped between the dash and the cab of the vehicle.
And we actually just spoke to officials with the Ohio State Highway Patrol. We're told that little girl still in critical condition tonight. The other driver in stable condition. We'll let you know if this story develops. Another news tonight, research shows for every 10 instances of bullying in children, adults can catch just one. That means that 90% of the time, the kids are facing the problem on their own. Wheeling Country Day School is taking steps to teach kids how to take care of themselves. A national speaker on bullying will be holding a workshop at the school Wednesday night. They've been treating children for about 20 years as a child therapist. He has focused a lot of research on bullying, and he found a unique way to put a stop to what's now being considered an epidemic in our nation. Through research with the children this man treated is now working with the FBI on body language. Bezinius came up with a way to, quote, bully-proof children. Take a listen.
So he's coming at this very differently than anybody else I've ever heard. He's saying we have to starve the bully, that a bully is actually looking for attention and power in situations. And the only way to truly end the dynamic is to starve the bully of that attention.
Jim Bezinius is that man's name. He will have a 90-minute free event at Wheeling Country Day School at 6 p.m. this coming Wednesday. We will have much more on this special thing as he discusses bullying and how it affects kids locally on Wednesday. Well, it is the skill set of the future and one that you may need if you hope to get a job with the coming ethane cracker in Marshall County we told you about last week. It's called Mechatronics. And believe it or not, it's offered right here in the Ohio Valley. In fact, it's at West Virginia Northern's Weirton campus. Our DK Wright took a closer look today.
Mechatronics is a little bit classroom and books, a little bit hard hat and hands-on. The workplace used to take people right out of high school, hire them as laborers, and maybe they'd work their way up to skilled positions. Companies don't do that anymore. You need skills to get in the door, skills that are all taught in Mechatronics.
It brings everything together. It brings electrical, mechanical, robotics, welding, instrumentation.
Students are all ages and all backgrounds. 61-year-old Jim Weirton was an IT person.
Did computer programming for 30 years. And due to the economic situations, I got let go, downsized. So I decided to re-engineer myself.
Mechatronics is a new 2-year program at West Virginia Northern Community College. The first class at the Weirton campus will graduate in May, 5 students. And there are already more jobs than graduates.
We've already had 6 different employers contact us about graduates for the program. We haven't had our first graduating class yet. One of them as far away as the Carolinas. So obviously there's going to be great job opportunities for people when they graduate.
The workplace used to be either blue collar or white collar.
The white collar jobs were the folks that were the supervisors. The blue collar folks were the ones that performed the work.
Now there will be a third category, gold collar. With a 2-year degree, these graduates will make good money.
Generally speaking, from the projections we've seen and so forth, you're talking about $60,000 and up.
And I think that's a nice number.
It started quietly but is already growing. Next year's graduating class at the Weirton campus will have 12 students. And in late summer, the Wheeling campus will open its new mechatronics class in the former Straub Honda building. Already, they say, students are taking the math classes to be ready for that class to start in August. Reporting from West Virginia Northern Community College in Weirton for 7 News, I'm DK Wright.
TK, thanks. Some more job news for you tonight. Changes in the labor market over the past decade have posed some interesting challenges for colleges and universities. Decisions on what programs to offer and what to teach in class are directly affected by these challenges. A study conducted by one local university attempted to shed some light on job growth and how post-secondary institutions are meeting the needs of the labor market. Our Dan Mayers has more.
The West Virginia Jobs and Education Report is a study that compares the job market in West Virginia with the degrees offered by the state's colleges and universities. The results of the study were published by the Institution for Innovation and Education at West Liberty University. It's an annual report that takes into account 4-year public and private universities as well as 2-year technical and community colleges. It provides an account of fast-growing job occupations as well as the educational needs of the state.
And there are a lot of studies that have been looking at the employment projections, the fastest growing occupations, but nobody really looks at the other part of the labor market, the other part being the supply side of the labor market. We really need to look at both sides of the labor market, and that's the purpose of this study.
The report examines several different fields of study. If the number of graduates in a given field are less than the number of available jobs, it's known as a labor shortage. On the other hand, if the number of jobs are greater, it's considered a labor surplus.
There might be one degree or occupation that would be the fastest growing occupation based on the forecasts, but what happens if we have already enough graduates to meet the demand? So that might be a problem, and maybe you shouldn't really focus on that specific occupation.
Results of the study show a labor shortage in fields such as social work, retail, and nursing. The report also revealed some surprising information.
I think one of the more interesting parts of it was the fact that where the real demand is right now is in the 2-year degrees. It looks like in a lot of the medical technician, dental technician, those are all 2 years degrees, and areas that would be addressed by our community and technical colleges.
Computer and engineering fields are listed as having a labor surplus. Reporting in Wheeling, Dan Mayers, 7 News.
Another advantage of the study is that it reveals occupations that are expected to experience above average job growth in a weakening labor markets. So to come on 7 News at 11, a country music star dead tonight, and authorities say it was by her own hand. We're going to hear what one local woman is saying about her and why next.